Hey everyone, Nathan the Lone Ranger with my podcast Inside the Range. Today is our Christmas episode. I bought the suit like 2 years ago, and there's like basically like 2 weeks out of the year we can really wear it. So I milk every time like these 2 weeks come up. I milk like I just wear this for every single Christmas event. So Christmas episode, and she's got like a little dog sweater, right?
Yep, little dog with a Santa hat.
But yeah, this is my guest Alexys. I will let her introduce herself, and we'll go from there.
Sweet. Well, hello everyone. My name is Alexys. Born and raised in Lakeville, Christian household, very big into the gym, and I would say I'm very enthusiastic and pretty outgoing. So if you haven't noticed already, I am pretty loud like Nathan, so I think this will be a good episode.
Yeah. All right, so she's a financial advisor. You didn't say that, but I'll say that for you. And we actually met because you called me out of the blue like a cold call, and you did it in a way that I do. Like, I cold call people all the time. I cold call realtors and a lot of my business partners. Like, honestly, like probably 90% of my business partners have been a cold call.
Dang.
And I did it like, you did it in a way that was just like me. You're like, hey, how's it going? It's Alexys, you know? And I'm just like, oh, okay, who's this person? You know? And
Right.
You won me over, you know, you got me intrigued. Like, a lot of times I get cold calls all the time from these people, like, hello, this is something, like, we're trying to sell you. And then I'm not interested.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
So that's how we met, and you were really bubbly, and I'm like, you're like, yeah, we should meet up. And I'm like, sure, you know, like, I like your energy, and you did it the same way that I did it, right? Exactly,
right.
Like pretty much the same way. But yeah, how do you remember how that went down?
Yeah, no, I'd say one thing that we're not similar in, I don't do a lot of my work in the cold call world, but, you know, I was just scrolling through Facebook and I saw your account and I was like, you know, I see the cowboy hat, I see the energy, I was like, I think we'd get along, so called him up and did it as he described. Very bubbly, kind of acted like we were friends right away, which all good callers and also especially good cold callers, I think you want them to seem like your friend because it's really easy noticeable when I'm reading from a script and I'm cold calling you and please buy everything that I do. And then it's like, dude, just be a human being. Like, what is happening? We're not a robot. We're not AI. But yeah, so just called you up, and then I think in our conversation, I think we realized that we grew up around the same area, because I grew up in Lakeville, you grew up in Apple Valley.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And then, went to the one place over by Carlson Towers where I used to office out of, and you're in here in Minnetonka too. And the rest was history.
Right.
And here we are today.
Right. Yeah. So you're a financial advisor, right? So how did that happen? How did you end up in that line of work?
Yeah. So to be compliantly with the title financial representative, now I'm associate financial representative. I recently merged onto a team, but I went to Carlson School of Management at the U of M, and a guy came in and gave a class talk, and most class talks are very boring. If they're, especially at Carlson, you know, it's a very standard corporate America job. So, you know, let's go sell some butter.
Did you know
let's
what
do
you wanted to do coming in, like, out of high school? Like, you went to Carlson, so you were in, like, business field already? You kind of were set on that, or what's up?
So I came in, I majored in marketing, and so I knew I wanted to do something with people. I always loved helping people, very competitive, so like kind of sales world, entrepreneurial mindset.
You like that coming in?
Yes, okay. Coming in. But
did you have family in that background, or no?
No. My dad does HVAC, or did HVAC when he was working, and my mom's a probation officer. So
a probation officer.
Yeah. So
oh wow. Okay.
Nothing from that world.
You don't want to do that, John? Line of work?
No. But yeah, a guy came in, gave a class talk, and I was actually really intrigued. And I marched right up to him after class. And I was like, "Hey, here's my resume." And we talked for like an hour, and before he left, I was like, "Well, when are you gonna put me on your calendar? Like, let's go and do this." And then in the first interview was hired for more of the post-grad intern track. So you're doing the exact same thing as you do full-time, but it was a nice ramp-up period to kind of get used to it, learn a lot, and then go full-time.
And was this like in your senior year? When was this happening? You probably said it, but I must have
No, you're good. So yeah, to backstep a little bit. So I graduated high school with my associate's degree. So I was only in college for 2 years to get my bachelor's. So this was the summer after graduation.
How'd you do that? You do PSEO?
Yep, PSEO.
Okay.
Through Normandale.
Nice.
So it was a nice and cheap way to get some college credits because it was free.
Right.
So.
Right. Okay. All right. So anyways, keep going. So you were going to go to your So walk me through your timeline, pretty much. You graduated high school with a associate's degree.
So graduated high school associate's degree, went to Lakeville North, and then went to Carlson for 2 years, and then last May I graduated. So then did the post-grad internship last summer, went full-time last August.
But what's last August, like 23?
Yes.
Or 24?
Yep, 23.
Because you called me this summer, and I didn't know you were in school.
Yep. No,
you weren't in school,
No,
though.
I wasn't in school, yeah.
Okay.
So graduated last year, and then worked full-time for a year, have my own practice, and then I merged onto merged practices about 2 months ago.
Okay. So that's
So there's
pretty
the
cool.
timeline. Yeah.
So I don't know if I probably told you, right, but I got approached like literally 2 weeks after I started this job and recruited for financial advisor, kind of like in your position.
Oh,
Did I tell you that?
I don't remember this.
Oh yeah, no, this is a really cool guy like named Sean. He kind of called me. He's like, "Hey Nathan, you're like, how's your day going?" and whatever. And he's like, "Hey, we should meet up for coffee." And I'm like, "Hey, I have a job, but maybe we can like kind of be business partners." And then he was
Right.
just telling me about what a financial advisor does, and I'm like, "Oh, you know, if I had not get approached by Maddie, who's my mentor and stuff, and brought me on here, I would have probably been in your shoes." Like I like
Wow.
to, because I wanted a career in finances after teaching, because I do a
Right.
lot of reading on like investments and stuff like that, like
Got
high
it.
yield online savings account and like
There you go.
basic stuff like Roth IRA and like just buying index funds. I just can't not get in the weeds here, but a lot
Right.
of people don't even know like you'd be surprised like as a loan officer, like I see a lot of assets inside something like a Wells Fargo account, and I'm like,
yeah.
well, you guys could be making like way more money, just because your savings account just sits
Yeah.
over here instead, right? So
Right.
I mean, that's what I don't know. Like, just walk me through what a financial advisor really does, because that could have been me in like an alternate universe if just 2 weeks different. Honestly,
Yeah,
it made it
yeah.
sound really appealing. 'Cause-
Well, I would say every single day is different, and it totally could depend on like who you are as well, because you could be an independent advisor with your own practice. You could be on an ensemble where there's multiple advisors and you got a ton of people working underneath you. But at least overall in my experience, every day was different. Answering emails, doing phone calls every day, meeting with clients, meeting with prospects, so potential clients.
So how'd you get your walk me through like step one, so like zero, like day zero, what did you end up doing? Like just the minute you got hired, what happened after that? Did you so like you had to did you do work and take like I know you had like 3 series of exams or something like that?
Yeah, so to get into the internship, you had to get your LAH, so Life Accident Health license first. So that's just all the insurance side of the business. And then pretty much first day, it was just a lot of training, which was nice just because you got a lot more, not necessarily hand holding, but you got more
First
learning.
what you said? First year? Or I'm sorry.
First day.
First day,
Yeah, because you asked about first day. Yeah, so kind of just doing some more onboarding stuff, getting used to it. But pretty quickly, then you're calling people, you're setting meetings, you're meeting with them.
And this is before you got your other two, like, what is it, Series 7 and Series 66 or something like that?
Yep. So then the investment side of the business, those are 3 exams. So I did my SIE a couple months back. I'm studying for my 7 right now, and then I'll do my 65 after this.
Okay.
But there's tons of exams that you can do.
So you can still be a financial advisor before getting all those exams, or how does that work?
So when you're just LAH licensed, you're financial representative title. And then as soon as you get your investment side of the business, so like the other 3 exams, and you can kind of do different tracks. Like you could do your SIE 6, and I believe it's 63. You could do SIE 7, 63, or 65, like however you want to do that path. But then once you do those 3, then you can be the title of financial advisor. So it's just in the compliance space, they're different titles, but you are doing the same thing. Like you are still meeting with clients.
Okay. So your role is, like, you still want to say it one more time, your role?
So my
Your
current title,
yeah.
compliantly, associate financial representative.
Okay. And what
Yep.
is your, like, what's your, like, duties then? Like, what kind of stuff do you do?
Yeah, so day to day now, I mean, we're still transitioning because I've been on the team for like a month and a half, 2 months almost now. I'm helping out with a lot more back end work. So, opening accounts, doing rollovers, submitting applications, and then going to be tying in a lot of the similarities from my previous role. So being able to go out, go to networking events, do fun things like this, doing podcasts, meeting with clients, current clients, and then onboarding new ones. And again, what I like about it is every day is still different. So that's the main thing. And you're with people, you're helping them out, and there's a genuine care there, which is nice.
So what caused you to kind of, you said, the guy came in to you and kind of presented to you in Carlson, but what, like, oh, this is the job for me, like, type of,
Yeah, good question. So 3.5 years ago, the August before, or July or August before going into college.
Like, were you in high school at this point?
Yes, so I just recently graduated. So this would have been the summer 2021. My younger sister was diagnosed with a rare brain condition called FND, so it's functional neurological disorder. And up to that point, my family, they have done the standard planning, 401ks at work, leveraging work benefits, but didn't really do anything additional to that. And they'd never met with an advisor before. And so the past 3.5 years, I've really seen the negative sides of a family not having a financial plan in place and really seen all aspects of it, especially having having one of the kids go through a huge medical event. And then because of that, my dad, he's not able to work, or at least work full time. So I've really seen.
Sorry, you said there was a medical event with your sister?
Yep.
Oh, but your dad had to take care of your sister, so
Yep,
he had to take some time off work?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
So
Okay.
really seeing all of that, like in my own life, I've seen the impact of it. So that's where a lot of my conviction and passion comes from, because I want to make sure other families are able to do the planning before that bad things happens. And also too, not many people know much about finance. Sure, there's stuff on TikTok, Instagram. But again, I went to Carlson School of Management, a really well-known business school, and I didn't even know there was 2 types of 401ks when I graduated. Like, just financial literacy is not really taught. So especially for our generation, really making sure they know what actual good financial planning looks like, rather than just the copy paste cookie cutter advice that people on Instagram and TikTok give. So very similar to, again, why I love having my fitness page and doing things with that in my faith, is because a lot of people just say, oh yeah, I work out for 1 month. Now, hey, go buy my workout plan. It's like, dude, you're not even licensed. Like, what? So just making sure everyone knows what actual good advice is, and being able to help them where I can.
Right. And that's where your goal is, to be like your independent financial advisor, or where do you want to end up, I guess? And if because you have some exams to take and things like that.
Yeah. Main thing I'm focused on right now is just getting a bunch of exams done. I'd love to have my CFP, and put some other name or letters behind my name, keep building up the practice, and then, standard Christian household dream, get married, have some kiddos, raise them up in the church. And family's very important to me, so overall just making sure I'm able to spend time with them and help them out where I can.
And then do you plan on working, eventually, if you're becoming a mom, like in whatever years, I don't know, your timeline?
Yeah.
But do you plan on working from home, or what's the plan?
Yeah, I think the one nice thing that came out of COVID is Zoom, like people being able to work on Zoom, work from home. Because I have clients like across the world, like California, Rhode Island, like New York, like just different places, which is nice. I think I will always want to work. I don't think I'd ever just want to stay at home. Again, family's very important to me, so I really want to focus on being able to attend school events, concerts, different things like that. But I think just because I like staying so busy, I'm going to have to be working. But also because I'm so passionate about the financial industry, I don't think that's ever going to die either. So continually fueling that fire. But,
so kind of just taking care of both, like you figure it out as you go.
Right, yeah.
Type of thing. But one step at a time, right? So I guess what's your plan in like the next year or over so you're growing your business, right? Right now. You're currently in the growth phase. We're both kind of in the growth phase.
Right.
What's brought you kind of success so far, and what's I guess what's that been like for you? What have you done that's worked out really well for you?
Yeah, I would say biggest thing that's helped me, and again, being as faith-based as I am, like really making sure my life and my business is fully centered around Christ, because I think it's so easy, especially in today's day and age, is to just get in that grind mode. Like, I just got to keep pushing. I just got to keep going. But again, if you don't have Christ in your conversations, if you're not in your Bible every single day, if you're not, praying for him to work in you and throughout your day, I think it's really easy to focus on the things of this world, of all the accolades and making a lot of money. So always bringing myself back, being like, you know what, God, like, I don't know what's going to happen today, but I trust that you have a plan for me. And just be with me in my conversations, help me to be bold in my faith and have biblical conversations. I think it's really helped me blossom as a person. You know, growing in faith, you grow in personality as well. But I think it's really allowed me to have such genuine relationships, whether it's with clients or even like just between us, like as friends too. Because I think that was one thing that we connected on right away, where I was like, hey, like, you're also Christian? Sweet. Like, where do you go to church? Are you involved in Bible studies?
Right.
So being able to just genuinely be myself, I think kind of paired with that is the biggest thing, because if you're acting like someone else, people can tell, and it's not going to be as attractive, because it's like, well, who even really are you?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. I don't know if it's a if it's a Christ thing about that, but I think it's really important to be like comfortable in your own skin.
Right.
That's why you saw like my cowboy hats and stuff. It's just like, to me, I do that. You know, I'm not obviously like goofing off all the time, but I like to kind of. I used to be a teacher, like I told you, and I was more of the fun teacher. I still got stuff done, right? But I was definitely like the guy that would sit with the kids at recess at lunch, and then would hang out like with the kids at recess and run around with them and stuff. You know, I actually got like approached by like I was a student teaching kindergarten, and my mentor teacher like helped block it, but like there was 2 other like older teachers that came to her, and they're like, hey, your student teacher's like running around with the kids. You gotta tell them that like we just stand here and we don't run around. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
like,
what?
We just stand here. I'm just like, sorry.
You're an adult. You're not a kid anymore.
No,
Nathan.
yeah. You can't have any fun. You need to stand here. I'm just like,
Yeah, no, that's not fun.
Yeah. So no, I connect with the stuff. Yeah, just be yourself, be genuine, and that's where like I you know, I have a podcast. Like I'm putting up like before this one will be up, but like it's with my owner of my company, and nice. I was like really insecure. I don't know if I ever told you this story. I think I've told you a few times to different people now, but I was really insecure about like just doing this, like, you know, I make videos, it's a little unconventional, it's just like, you know, I don't know, wear a cowboy hat and stuff, and I'm like, Tom, what if realtors look at me and they don't want to like associate with me, or clients don't want to work with me because they're like, oh, this guy's just too like whatever, and Tom's just like, oh, F him. I'm just like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, man, be authentic, be yourself, and like people will recognize that. People are drawn to authenticity. So what you said, it does connect with a lot of people, because authenticity, it just sells. Like, you know, you don't need to be fake or like be overly like this or overly like that. Just like be yourself, and it will sell. So yeah, so like describe a little bit of how like that. How do you approach that in your business as rigid, or I don't know if rigid is the right word, but it's heavily regulated. As regulated as like financial industry is, it's kind of hard sometimes to navigate that, is it not?
Yeah, for sure. Because I think we've chatted about this a little bit before as well. But yeah, financial industry is really regulated. Like your business cards, they cannot look all nice and pretty. It's just the standard like name, phone number, email, like that's all you can have. I would not
like that. My business card is
well, right. So that's why I don't have business cards. I'm like, if I were you, I would throw this away too. So like, just take my LinkedIn, take my information, give me your number, whatever. Follow me on Instagram, whatever that ends up being. But with that, I always try to still add a sparkle of like myself or who I am. So again, being on social media, doing content creation for the past like 6.5, 7 years now.
Do they regulate though? I thought they did.
Well, yep. So since I have that in my personal life, I still try to pull as much as that as I can into the financial industry. So on LinkedIn, like I love adding photos. Hey, I went to this event, or I did this. Sure, it's different, but at the same time, I think you can try to work your way around it, you know? Like for example, last week I was at the U of M and I did a alumni panel for the Women in Business Club at the U. And, you know, I just reposted some people's pictures that we took there. And it's just a nice like highlight, because again, if you're on social media, like posting at least once a week, and if you can do it multiple times a week, like then you're top of mind for people. And then again,
is it regulated though? I have another buddy who's also a financial advisor. He tells me like every single time he posts something, he needs to have a compliance person look at it.
Yep, yeah. So there is a thing. It's I can't remember directly what it's called, but it's like a compliance portal almost. So I have to like put the caption, put the photos in, and then post it through there. And then as long as they approve it, it'll post on my
Really?
page. Yeah, I've never had anything flagged, at least from what I know.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm not
That's
posting
intense.
anything like inappropriate or weird.
Right.
Yeah, and at first I thought, I was like, well, what the heck? This is kind of weird. Like,
Yeah, that's intense.
this is stupid. Why do I have to have
I wonder
it
if my
filtered?
cowboy hat would pass that.
It'd probably be fine, but in the hindsight of it, like the only reason they're doing that is to protect us. So at the
Sure.
same time, like I am thankful for it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just sad with the business cards.
Oh, you just can't
But
put
other than
anything
that-
on the business cards, or
Yeah.
what? You just can't put like pretty like.
Yeah, I think it's just the standard stuff. But
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, again, like meeting me in person, it's so much better than just like, hey, here's a business card. Like, look at this. So there's again just ways you can work around it. But
Okay, so just going back to like just so you said you want to integrate Christ a lot in your life. I think that's awesome. And in your business too. Like I guess there's actionable steps that you took just starting out as a brand new financial advisor. Like what was that like? Did you make calls or did you go out to network? And probably a combination of everything, but like just like maybe even the first month. Because in my first month, all I did was cold call a list that my mentor gave me, right? That's pretty much all I did.
oh wow, dang.
And like, yeah, it
Yeah,
was
no,
intense.
I mean, it was all reaching out to my network first.
Yeah, okay. I could-
Which,
yeah.
honestly, I'm really happy that that is how I started, just because of my own personal connection and like conviction towards this. It's like, why would I not want to make sure my friends and family are taken care of? Like, people I love and care about, if something were to happen to their spouse, their daughter, like anyone that they know, like I would want to know in my heart, like that them and their family are okay. So it was nice to, calling friends and family, meeting with them. I do a lot of work based off of referral or like warm
Yeah.
introduction, I say. And those are really more of the fun conversations. I'd say not a lot of cold calls end up like this where we become really good friends. But at the same time too, if ever I'm running low on a call list, or if I am, driving to work and I see a work van of some sort, I'm like, oh, hey, I look them up and they're a construction company. I love working with blue collar workers. They work hard, and they always tend to be good people. So I was like, hey, was driving to work today and I saw your van, and then kind of just go from there.
Well, that's a cold call. So you do cold calls then, right? There's not too many. That is a cold
Every
call.
once in a while, yeah. If
Okay.
I'm kind of like, okay, I'm in the mood for something else, I want to meet someone new, and I also go to a lot of networking events as well. Most times I'm the youngest one in the room,
Sure.
but at the same time, like it really helps me to get me out of my comfort zone, because I have to socialize. I have to say, hey, what's your name? I'm not here to like a 57-year-old man, which it's, again, being different, being a young female in the industry, but it's connecting me to a lot of people and giving me really cool opportunities that I would not have had if I didn't put myself out of my comfort zone to make those calls, to go to those events.
Yeah, you do stretch your comfort zone a lot,
Right.
right? But
Yeah.
do you feel comfortable? I mean, when I go to networking events, sometimes I know very little people. At first, I didn't know anybody or hardly anybody.
Right.
And you kind of have to get in like this mindset to like
Yeah.
be cool with like people. But and once I start talking to a person or two, then it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. But when you first get there, there's like a bunch of people.
I know, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Get a little
it's just
sweaty,
like-
your heart's starting to beat.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that, but then you just gotta click something, you gotta just click and then you're in it, right?
Yep.
Is that
Yeah.
how it is for you, or?
For sure, yeah. Most times I'll like be driving there, and if my boyfriend's not at work or something, I'll give him a call. I'm like, oh my gosh,
And he kind of pep talks you or what?
Yes, yeah. I'm like, oh, I had this like networking event I got to go to. Like, I know I need to go. Like, I'm excited to go, or so and so invited me, and he's like, you got it. And I was like,
Did he
oh.
ever come with you or not? Or is it kind of like out of place if he came or?
I mean, he could probably come, but more so, I think I like going to networking events by myself because it forces me to talk to other people and meet new people.
No, I'm the same way.
Yes, like if I go with someone, then that's
Yeah,
totally
you
my
have a home
crutch,
base.
and
It's
I'm
like,
just gonna go
it's
over
like you're
here.
burning your boat when you go there, so you're
Yes.
forced to kind of. I do that too. Like when I meet new people, I just like go by myself and I'm like.
Yes, because
I don't have a
networking
home
events
base.
should be for networking, not just hanging out.
Right.
Like that's one thing too, where you have to be picky and choosy with what networking events you go to, because some people are literally just there to get drinks, hang out. And I'm like, no, this is a business networking event. Like I'm trying to meet you professionally.
Hanging out is networking,
also
though.
make friends.
Hanging out is networking, though.
Well, right.
Yeah.
But it depends on the type of hangout where it's like, hey, what do you do? And then people are like weirded out that it's like, no, like what? that's the point of what this is. So you just have to be careful with kind of where you go.
You mean like hanging out with like the same group of people and not branching out? Maybe that's what you mean by hanging out, or
kind
did you mean
of,
something
yeah.
else?
I mean, I'm just thinking of this one networking. I can't remember what it was called or what group it was, but I just remember going, and then most people like they were out there getting. They were getting drinks. It was kind of at this like lounge bar almost. People were just getting drinks, and then this one guy came up and he was giving people business cards, and then people were like giving him weird looks. And then he came up to me, and he's actually one of my clients now, because me and him were on the same wavelength. Like, yeah, we're here to network. Like, yes, I would love to make friends with all of you, but at the same point too, like we're networking. Like, what do you do? How can I be a benefit for your business? Vice versa. How can we help each other? Rather than why are you giving me your business card? Like. Why
Did
are
you say
here?
anything to them, or you just gave it to the business card to them?
Well, it wasn't me. It was him.
Yeah, no,
who
that's what I'm
did.
saying. Like maybe that's why they weird out. If someone just randomly handed a card, I'd be
Oh
like,
no,
oh,
no.
what's up,
He was
man?
talking to him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but overall, I mean, not any big deal at
Yeah.
all. But I just was saying on the topic of networking events, just depends on which ones you go to. So you want to make sure they're worthwhile. But.
Yeah, I love most networking events, especially if there's some fun like thing incorporated into it.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
But as you get more and more in the industry, you'll like go there and you'll like see people that you know from before, and it's like, you know, I was just there and I knew like a lot of people there already, so it's just
Right.
like, oh hey, how's it going? Oh hey, yeah, I know
Exactly,
you.
yeah.
And then you're like, it's warm, you know, it's not like cold as it used to be when you first start out. So
Right. Yeah.
it's just like you see the same circle over and over again. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's nice too about being like your genuine self, regardless of where you are, especially at like different networking events, because first impressions, like you want to be your genuine self.
Oh, yeah.
So now, like by the end of maybe a 5, 10, however long conversation, like you're already friends. It's like, hey, I know you're passionate about the gym, your faith, your family, you're in the financial industry, like yada, yada, yada. Like you have then a good, solid connection. Being vulnerable, like I tell them about my sister and like why I'm so passionate about what I do, and then that opens them up to be vulnerable, and boom, you're already like close to that person, and then it's just kind of going from there, which is really cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of networking events do you usually go to?
So I took a little hiatus in this transition, but I would just look on Eventbrite, honestly, and just kind of pick and choose different ones. Again,
What kind of stuff? Like, is it like realtors stuff, or is it like business stuff, or just
Really?
like, hey, y'all,
It's
come
kind of-
hang out?
Yeah, it's kind of anything and everything, whatever piques my interest. Personally, I love free events. I know some events you have to pay for, which I've paid for events before, but I want to make sure.
Events. I love burning money.
Yeah, no. But one thing I started to do this past summer, I've kind of taken a break again, but I started doing more events that just involved fitness. So I like went
Okay.
to Lululemon at the Mall of America and did a workout class, and then
There's
from
a
there,
workout class at Lulu.
yes, yeah, the girl came in and did like a HIIT workout.
Oh, what?
And
High
then
intensity workout? Where?
Yeah, like inside Lulu, there's like a studio there.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, it's like in the back. I didn't know
Oh, I was like,
it
dude, are you
existed.
like working out with a bunch of clothes around you? I was like, what?
No, it was really cool. So I made a friend there, and then I was going to it was a yoga with yoga with dogs. It
With
was like,
dogs?
puppies and Pilates. That was the title. Oh my gosh, the best event ever. So it was in Edina. There were these like rescue or like kind of foster, I think it was rescue dogs that you could foster or like adopt. So you'd be doing Pilates and they'd walk around with dogs. Oh my gosh, it was the best thing
Pilates,
ever.
huh? I've never done Pilates. But
it was
I did
interesting.
goat yoga, and that was my first time doing yoga.
That'd be so fun.
Well, okay, it was a good experience. It was my first time doing yoga. But isn't the point of yoga like relaxing, or what's the whole point of yoga?
Probably.
Do you do yoga? That was my first time doing yoga.
I think I did like hot
I don't
yoga
know
back
too
in high
much.
school at Lifetime, but I think it's supposed to be kind of relaxing, but it's almost painful because it's like hard. Yoga's hard.
Well, I guess it depends on what. I always imagine yoga as like a rest and relaxation. Okay, it is hard, but isn't it about like slowing your heart rate down and stuff versus like getting it up and
Oh, gosh.
upbeat? Or does it depend
I
on the
don't-
type of yoga?
Maybe depends on the type.
Well, I guess we
Because I
both
feel
don't
like
know.
I'm sweating when I do yoga.
Oh, okay. I didn't do hot yoga. I did goat yoga. It was a couple months ago. We were on these mats. A good friend of mine invited me there, and dude, I could not be relaxed. They had you close your eyes, and these goats were walking around. I'm fine with it, but then the goats like peed and pooped on somebody. So I'm like, dude, I'm like keeping my eyes open. I'm just like, I don't want to be peed on, you know. Like I couldn't be relaxed. I mean, I'm just like,
Oh,
you're like,
no.
just close your eyes and calm and breathe, and I'm like, yeah, well, where's this goat at? I don't want to get peed on here. You know, it pooped on somebody too. And I'm just like, dude, I don't want poop on me.
I
you
was
know?
literally going to bring that up because I love animals, but I am like terrified of poop. It is like,
Oh, you're terrified of poop?
yes. So like my family, my
Like
parents.
what kind of dog poop or like any kind of poop? Or?
Well, so here's the story. So my family, we have a ton of animals. Well, so I live in Minneapolis. My parents still live in Lakeville with my 2 younger siblings, but they have a ton of animals. So they got 3 dogs, 8 bunnies, I think
What?
2 birds.
You guys have a ton of animals in your house? Like a little
Yep.
farm or what?
Yeah, but we live in the middle of Lakeville. Like we don't live on a farm.
You guys have like a big yard?
Yeah.
Or you just have like bunnies running around your house?
No. There's 8 bunnies. There's
So
eight
it's just a zoo
like
in
bunny
your house?
cages in the back.
In
No.
in the backyard?
Yeah,
What-
they're outdoor bunnies.
What about the wintertime?
Out there still, there's like heaters and stuff they put out.
Oh, and you got birds you said too?
Yep, birds are inside. I think, and my brother got a snake for Christmas last year.
Wait, so what?
Got a
Wait, so
hamster.
back up. What animals do you have here? So I heard bunnies and
okay, everybody,
dogs.
let's listen up. So we got 8 bunnies. I think we have
8
2
bunnies?
birds. Yep. I think we got 2 birds, 3 dogs, a snake, a hamster. I feel like I'm missing. Oh, my sister has like a little lizard thing.
lizard
I
thing.
think that's it. I can't remember what it is, but it's a cute
Like a
little
gecko?
guy. Maybe it's something like that, but it like jumps, so I've never held it because I'm like it's gonna jump at my face and like kill me.
You like reptiles or no?
I mean, again, all animals are cool. I just don't want them to pure poo on me. Oh, yeah, so this is the story. That's how we got on this. So one time I was holding one of the bunnies, and so I was like, okay, I'll hold it, but it better not like pee or poop on me. I'd start freaking out. So, you know, I'm in my house. I'm wearing just like a sports bra and shorts. I think I got back from the gym recently. And the freaking bunny pooped on me. And one of the little bunny pellets or whatever they're called got in my belly button.
Oh.
And I started sobbing. Oh, I was
Sobbing?
literally sobbing.
You
Like
started
my mom
sobbing?
has a video of me because I'm like,
Wait,
are
how
you
old?
kidding
How old
me?
were you?
Oh, in high school.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I told you I didn't want it to poop. Oh my gosh, I was
Was that
so
your first time
grossed
holding
out.
your bunny?
I think I've held a bunny before, but like, that's just the only thing I remember. And then one time I was holding the bird, and the bird started like running up my arm, and I was like, it's gonna come eat my. It was.
Are
so
you
after
do you
that,
are
I
you
just
like do
don't.
you have like animals like do you like animals? You say you do, right? But then you're afraid of like them eating you or what's up with
So
that?
no, I mean, yes, I love animals. I just don't like if they pee or poop on me.
Okay,
So like
fair enough.
dogs, most of the time, I don't think they're gonna pee or poop on you.
No, they probably won't.
I'm trying to think. Cats, same sort. I'm a dog person over a cat person, but cats are still cute.
I agree with you.
But I don't know. Birds, I just feel like they can like bite you.
How does birds work? Like having a pet bird, like do you just keep it caged? Because like, you don't let it fly around your house, do you? I feel like that'd be
No,
some
so
sort of.
yeah, they do have a cage because I think they had 2 separate bird cages.
But is the cage small? Is it big or?
It's pretty big. I'm trying to
Okay.
think size. It's a pretty decent cage. The one I'm both of them are big, but yeah, most of the time it's in the cage. But then they'll take it out, hold it. Most of the time it doesn't really fly away. That would be kind of bad. They'd probably put it back in the cage if it did that. But yeah.
Interesting. So you just have like 20 animals at your house, huh? Or your
Yeah,
parents' house?
yeah. So like sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I had a dog. Like I get lonely at my apartment sometimes.
Just take
And
one of
then
your
I'll-
parents' like 5 dogs.
Well, right, but then if I have to watch the dogs in my little small Minneapolis apartment and there's 3 dogs, a black lab, Chihuahua, and a
Yeah.
Yorkie that I have to walk around, it reminds me I don't need a dog. I'm not home enough for a dog. Thank you for
Right, so
a little
that's
pet
what
love, and I'm
I
good.
always want a dog too, but like honestly, with my friends with a dog, like every time they go on vacation or like, oh,
Exactly.
we gotta go home and go to the dog. Like you can't be away from your house like
Exactly.
for more than 8 hours, and
No.
I'm gone like on my
Yep.
house all the time. So you know that would be such a
Yeah.
Oh shoot, I gotta So man, I do love dogs too, and that. I just don't want that like tying me down just yet. Later, fine, but like just
Exactly.
not
Right.
yet.
Right.
Yeah.
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 I feel the same way because it's like, sure, I'll get to work at 7. Maybe I'll get back at 7, 8 p.m. because I'll go work all day. I'll go to the gym. But then if I have to watch my parents' dogs, it's like, well, no, I got to make sure I go into work late so I can still walk them. They get some time
Mm-hmm.
outside of their kennel, especially the black lab, because again, smaller dogs, they're fine. But like a bigger dog, I want him to be able to stretch his legs, like get
Yep,
out.
yep,
And then I'll
yep.
have to stop before I go to the gym, and then when I go after the gym, and then before I go to bed. And it's like a whole, I'm like, this is a big inconvenience. I'm like, I love animals, but again, I'm like, I just want to live my life right now.
Right, yeah, heck yeah.
Eventually, yes, I
Heck
would
yeah.
love to have a dog.
Right.
But just not right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what. But
Yeah.
I do like. I went to what was it, my uncle's house in Vancouver. So I
nice.
stayed at his house before. I used to go to school in Vancouver for a little bit, and then like I spent a week at my uncle's house before I flew home.
Nice.
But I would take his dog out like late at night and just walk around. I'm like, dude, that's sick. You got a little buddy like walking around with you. Like I take walks like every night. So like just having a dog.
Yeah, having a companion with you.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool. Just the whole like I have to be at my house like every like 6
Just
hours.
the actual taking care part of
No,
them
I'll
is.
take care of it. Like I don't have an issue with that. It's just like I have to go back. Like
Right.
I have to be kind of tethered. That's
Right.
I don't mind like feeding him and picking up his poop or whatever. Like that's fine with me.
Right, yeah.
But it's just like
the part,
of like
all
yeah,
the
you just say like,
nuances.
oh yeah, I'm gonna go out late here. Oh shoot, I
Actually,
can't.
just kidding, I can't. Yeah, gotta go with the dog out.
Exactly. So
And then
that's my thing. I wish they were like kind of cats in the way that they're like more independent. But I wish we could just have like a bit of. But I'm definitely more of a dog. I don't know why. It's just like I just love how dogs are more attached and like they're like your buddy and stuff. I think that's so cool. Go hikes and stuff all the time. Yeah, if I take my dog, I don't know if I can take him cross country skiing, but that'd be really cool. Like he'd just be running around with. I don't know.
You probably could. Oh, that'd be so cute. Yeah, it's like his. Yeah, you could do like a little cross country skiing and then.
I haven't seen that.
Well, you could start it. It's on Instagram. Yep, you'll just start popping out reels with you and your dog skiing. I think that'd be the most adorable thing ever. Oh, it's just like when like little kids go skiing. It's like they're so tiny and they ski and they fall over and they're like, oh, Dad, look, I just skied.
Oh yeah, dude. I saw some parents take their
cute.
little kids out cross country skiing. I thought that was so cute. I'm like, that's gonna be my kids one day. I'm gonna take them out like 4 years old. They can barely. Well, I mean, not 4, like yeah, three
like
years
1
old.
month old. Come on, just get out there.
Get it before they even walk. Just put on some skis on.
Yep.
Just drag them along or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll be one of those parents like with those like when the kids are real little, like one of those like bike things in the back. I'll be biking around.
That's what my parents. Yes, absolutely.
Maybe
loved
even
it.
mountain
Yep.
biking. I'm just kidding. But
Yeah.
taking mountain
Do the
biking
whole thing.
with that thing with rocks and trees.
Oh
That
yeah, no, that
fine.
wouldn't work. No, it's fine. Just hang
It would be fine.
They have like the little straps in there. They can wear a helmet inside.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not doing that.
Don't worry, guys. We're not
I'm
we're
not
kidding.
actually
We're
gonna do that. But like
joking.
maybe
We're not
like
real.
the road bike, I'd take them on the road and stuff like to do that. That'd be cool. But biking with the dog and that stuff. That's fun. That's fun.
No, I think that's a good idea. Like I remember growing up, and my parents they would attach it to their bike, and it was like 2-seaters. So
Attach what? Like for your kids?
yeah,
I mean
like
for
a
their
little,
kids.
It's not like an actual trailer, but it's just something like
Yeah,
attached
I know
to the
exactly
bike.
what you mean. I know
and
exactly
I love
what you
doing it.
mean.
Like we'd ride around, we'd go to the park, have like a little picnic.
Were you in there?
Oh yes, I remember that. Like
You remember riding in there?
Yes, I do.
I never
It's
had
not
one of
like
those.
distinctly, but I remember having one, and then like my little siblings, they would go in it when I got older and rode my own bike. Oh, definitely, I
Did
gotta
you
do
ever
that
pull
for my
them?
kids.
What did they? Were you not like? Yeah. Did you ever pull them?
Maybe I didn't. I don't think I was.
Maybe you're not old enough to like
Old or
pull
big
a whole
enough,
like person behind your bike,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You're just learning how to bike probably.
Yeah, because if I'm aging myself here, if I'm 21, my sister's 16, and my brother's 13. Let's see. I mean, by the time my sister would ride in it, is that 5? Yeah, I'd be 5. And then my brother, 8. Yeah, I mean, probably not old enough to really do my own
But
thing.
your parents were like active or what? Like they took you around to all that stuff? Or?
Yeah, I think they were pretty active. They'd always come to my school band concerts or choir concerts. Back in the day when parents could like bring lunch to school, I remember I went to Cherry View in Lakeville. And my parents would bring like Taco Bell and they'd come eat at like the lunch table with me. And it was the coolest thing because like my parents were like, they would do that whenever they could. My mom would come in and do readings.
That's
like
sick.
that kind of circles back on the comment I made earlier where it's just like, I want to make sure I'm involved in my family's lives,
Yeah.
but also like
Yeah,
my future
yeah,
kids
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like for my brother and sister, okay, Brody has a band concert, sweet, I'll be there, when is it? Sydney has this going on, perfect, what's the time, let me put it on my calendar.
Yeah.
And then eventually when I have kids, like I want to be an active and involved parent just like my parents were. So I mean, I'm really happy that they instilled that in me. Because I mean, so many times you'll see like the kids that are just look so sad, like they're looking for their parents and they're not there. I'm like, oh, like I'll take pictures of you for them. Like I'll give you a hug after. Like I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
And I know not every parent has the luxury to attend those things
Right.
by any means.
Right.
But again, that's why I was looking for a career. Like when I was in college, it's like I want a career where I have the flexibility to be able to go and do those things. Because I mean, I think it's so important.
Yeah, I agree with that's like my plan in the future too. I actually don't want kids. I'm like mid-20s now. I don't want my kids to like honestly. It could change.
Okay.
But I don't want kids to probably mid to late 30s, and the reason was that is I just like we were talking about, I just love my freedom and flexibility now.
Right.
Building my career. I don't want like I don't want something to kind of worry about just yet.
Yeah.
And I honestly want to just live it up, and explore as much and just kind of explore myself as just really like explore myself as a person, just round it out as I kind of go in like my 30s and then stuff. And then once I get everything situated, my career is settled, and I figured out like I kind of have a semblance of who I am, but like once I kind of solidify that, right, I'd be able to turn all my effort, instead of just living for me or just living like majority for me, it's gonna be for my kid. Like that'll be like supersede me, right? And I would be in a position like to be able to just pour everything into them. And like you said, with our career is so flexible, like I'll definitely like go to their lunches and do all that fun stuff, and like I'd take them up from school. And oh man, I used to be a teacher, so I really love the ages when they're like kind of like elementary school, preschool, like that is my favorite age. Precious. That is my favorite age.
They'll draw you a picture you'll put on your fridge.
Yeah, like stuff like that, or we go out, I don't know, build snowmen, I don't know. We'll have so much fun. I can't even imagine right now.
Oh, he's cheesing over here, so excited.
We'll have so much fun. I'll pull them on. I'll be one of those guys with those ski things that you like, those like 4-year-old skis that you pull them along, where like I don't know, I don't know, you see them on this hill, right? Like they kind of have a little like leash thing that you kind of like.
Oh yes,
you go down on ski, and I would like teach them how to do that. That'd be so fun. Oh man, that's gonna be fun. Oh yeah, wow. I'm excited just thinking about something like that. Yeah, that's gonna be fun one day.
That's gonna be my kids too, like. So my boyfriend Cardi, he grew up in Paynesville, which is kind of a smaller town by St. Cloud. So whereas my graduating class from high school was like over 500, his was like 50. So like very different. But for him, he likes like more of the country aspect. Right. So I mean, eventually I would love to have some land, but live close enough to a Walmart where it's not like 30 minutes away, give or take. But with that, on the land, I want to have like a kind of barn type thing and have our own gym there.
Oh, your own gym, huh?
Yeah. So Carter can have his personal training clients there, but then our family, eventually when we have kids and such, we'll all have like workouts on the weekends, and it'll be the cutest thing ever. Like our little kids are gonna be pumping iron with us. Like that's gonna be my kid. They're gonna start pounding the protein. Yeah, we're gonna have like the jacked 16-year-olds that's like out on the field playing football. And he's
what are they hitting when they're 4? Like squats or what? Deadlifts?
Oh, they're gonna do everything. Yeah.
They're gonna be deadlifting at 4.
Well, because I've seen there's this one guy on Instagram. I can't remember his name, but he has 2 kiddos.
He's a 4-year-old that deadlifts.
I think so. There's like these 2. I will find it. I'll gotta like tag him in this podcast. Yes, there's these kids. They're not like jacked, but like they're out there doing squats and
young kid,
pressing.
Young kid.
Yes, and they're so cute. And then he like gives them a high five afterwards.
What, they got the little bar or what? Like
yes, he made like little miniature, like little kid-sized stuff. I'm like, that is the cutest thing.
Doesn't it stunt your growth if you live too early? Or that's what I heard, doesn't it?
Probably, I think so. That was one thing my parents were always. I started working out when I was like 16. Like I just walked to Lifetime after school, like in middle school, because it was right across the street.
My parents were like, if you lift too heavy, you're gonna stunt your growth, and I'm like, well, I don't want that to happen. So.
Well, but at the same time, I mean, you lift in sports, and people start sports early. I don't know. Everything
like
kills you.
Intense, like deadlift or something. Like I don't think people do that. Well, you lifted when you were like 16?
Yeah.
But you were probably done growing at that point, though, right? Or were you still like growing? Do you remember?
I mean, I'm definitely taller than I was then.
Okay, but you were probably like hit your growth spurt at that point, though, right? Or were you like?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, later? I've been 5'3.5" for like a while. 5'3.5", and literally in a half, because every time I go to the doctor, 5'3.5", I'm like, yes, I know.
Do you think you're
never gonna grow? Oh no.
Because you're like, for a while.
Both of my parents are short.
How tall are your parents?
I think my mom's like 5 foot.
Oh, my mom's about 4'11", 5'2".
Oh my gosh, they're so tiny. They're so cute. She's not actually that tiny, but she's shorter than me.
My mom is about 5 foot.
Yeah, and then my dad, 5'5", maybe 5'6".
Oh really?
Maybe.
That's my parents.
I think Carter is 5'6", 5'7", maybe. I think he's around the same height as my dad. So I mean, he's not super tall either.
Oh,
but like
my parents are about your size. Your parents' size, I mean.
Yeah, well, my cousins. Yeah, and the only reason I thought of this is because we were at my aunt's wedding this past weekend, and they came. Oh my gosh. The youngest cousin from one of the families, she's 13. I think she's like almost 6 foot. Like they breed just giants. Oh my, I'll have to show you after this because I'm like looking up at her when I'm talking to her. I'm like, you're 13 years, I think she's 13 because I think she's the same, she's the same age as Brody.
She's a 6 foot girl, 13-year-old.
Monster. Yes. And my dad's like, why are they so tall? I'm like, well, because both of them are tall, Dad. Like, do you see both of you? That is why all 3 of your kids are small.
Wait,
because you are both small.
Did your dad ask you why you're short or?
Yeah, I think he's not actually mad about it, but you know when dads like act like they're all stubborn, like, well, what?
Yeah, no, my dad said that all the time when I used to be the shortest kid in school till like 10th grade. I kid you not. And
well, it's genetics, yeah.
Yeah, my parents would be like, you're shorter than everyone else, and I'm like,
because of you, like, what do you expect?
Yeah, but then they're like, oh, you just gotta drink a lot of milk. So funny story. They told me if I drank lots of milk, I would be taller. So I drink milk to this day because I don't know. But like when I was like teenage, honestly, I would pound it.
Chugging them down?
No, I literally would force myself. Like it wouldn't be like overly indulgent. It wouldn't be like indulging. I wasn't indulging, but I'd be like, okay, another glass of milk after dinner or something like that, right?
Oh, no.
And I think I ran cross country too from 14 to 16. So I don't know if it was the milk or because I ran a lot. But my parents said if you exercise a lot too, you're gonna get taller. So no, seriously, because like in 6th grade, I had this we did this assignment where we had to go do a height predictor thing, and then we compared it to everybody. And my friend's like, yeah, I'm gonna be 6 feet. Oh, I'm gonna be 5'10". And then we're like, Nathan, what'd you get? 5'5". I'm just I was really sad.
All the girls ran the opposite direction. No, just kidding.
No, but
just kidding.
I was just super sad, and then I just like from 6th to like 10th grade, I just was kind of like, how can I get taller? How can I get taller? And I just did all that stuff, and I'm the tallest person in my family at 5'9". You know, my dad's 5'5", my mom's 5 feet, and then my brother's like 5'6", 5'7". So I don't know if it was the milk or the constant exercise.
Here's an ad for milk, guys. Look at what 1% or 2%.
But I did it. I'm like 4 and 5 inches taller than my dad. And then I came like normal-ish size in like 10th, 11th grade. So honestly, it looks.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not like. Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't ended up being 5'5", because I mean it wouldn't be the end of the world. It just.
It sucks being down here when everyone else is up there.
But you're not. Fine. I mean, 5'3" for a girl. That's just
for a chick. I think that's
fine.
Average.
That's fine.
Well, and
that's average. Yeah.
It's helpful in the gym too, because for someone who's 6 foot versus 5'5", like so Carter, he has a friend. I think he's 6 foot, maybe a little higher underneath that. But him and Carter, they're both bodybuilders. But again, if Carter's 5'7" and his friend is 6 foot, well, Carter has like 5 inches on him. So when he does squats, it's less range of motion that he has to do. Mm-hmm. So it's easier for shorter people to be in bodybuilding just because their ROM is shorter. So they look bigger just because there's less, because they're shorter. Does that make sense?
Right. It's probably easier to gain muscle too, or not?
Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah, I would think so.
I don't know.
I think so, just because again you're smaller in height, so there's less muscle mass that you have to put on per se.
Yeah, because I don't
think that's the right terminology, but I
get what you're putting down. I get what you're putting down. Yeah. So, okay. So I know you mentioned to me like probably 500 times that you have a Buff Believer Instagram page.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about that. I never actually seen it, but.
Yes. Fitness. So my freshman year of high school at Lakeville North, I was on the dance team, but then I ended up stress fracturing my tibia, which is like right here on my leg.
Oh, you were on the dance team?
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yep. And then that's how I got into working out. So I would still go to practice every single day after school, which was for like 3 hours.
For dancing?
Yep, but I couldn't dance, so I would just do like little ab workouts that I found on YouTube.
What do you stress? What did you fracture? The tibia?
It was like right here, yeah. Like,
how did that happen?
So in dance, we do kick line and then there's jazz, and I was on the JV kick team, but we would practice in the cafeteria.
What's kick line? Like you do a bunch of kicks like that?
That's like where they're kicking behind the head and they're, oh my gosh.
Kicking behind the head?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
You're standing in line, you kick, you do jumps, leaps.
Okay.
I'll have to show you like a little video of my old little dancing career. But yeah, so I think just the constant pounding, just ended up hurting it. I don't know. And then I used to do track too, and I think just again when you're
both those things.
Yeah, when you're running, if you don't have good shoes, if you're on bad like cafeteria floor versus like an actual dance floor that's softer. So anyways, so yeah, was in dance. Started doing like little ab workouts on YouTube, and then eventually I somehow got connected to like this group of guys who went to Lifetime after school. So I would just meet them like in the parking lot at school, and then we'd all drive over there and I'd work out with them for 2 hours, and that's how I got into the gym. And then after a couple months, I was like, hey, this is really cool. Like, I found this outlet for myself. It's a nice way to kind of not necessarily check out of like real life, but like you have 2 hours to just put your headphones on, like push yourself really hard, just kind of really get in the zone. And I was like the only female in the workout session, in the weight section of the gym. And so that's
the only one. There's not one more.
Well, there was a couple, but like majority of the time, like I would be one of the only chicks there. And so I was like, you know what, like, I want to start a fitness page. Like, I want to help other girls learn how to work out, what to do, because I only learned from this group of guys, and especially his name is Johnny. Shout out Johnny too. But like they taught me like a lot of what I know now to this day about the gym and how to work out. Obviously, I've built a lot on it the past 6 years now, but really helped me do the fundamentals. And so that's where the fitness page was born. I think the first name it was called was just like Fit by Alexys. And then I'd have some like little workouts on there, and then COVID hit.
Dude, I want to interrupt you right here. If someone walks in front of your little filming studio session, are you gonna freak out, or what's
Joey Swole?
Yeah, that's
that guy.
That's what I was thinking.
Joey, I love you. Comment on this.
I see that
so
all
much
the
love.
time, and like these girls get mad, or do you see like people like looking your way, or what's up with that? Yeah, just walk me through the Joey Swole like stuff there.
Again, the gym is a public place. If someone walks in front of your video, suck it up. It's a public place. If you get angry about it, like book a private gym, work out at your apartment. Like, don't come to the gym then and record. For me,
so that happens sometimes, right? Accidentally.
For sure.
I don't think anyone that intentionally does it, but like,
no, for sure. And I mean, again, I always try my best to kind of walk around videos too. If it's one of my friends, I'll try to get in the back of their video and be like, yeah, lift it, keep going. But I think it's just general courtesy. So yeah, if I film in the gym, I don't care if anyone gets in it, because again, I'm also kind of getting in their way too. If I put up a tripod, or I rest it on a bench, like I'm using something or using space on the floor. So like, if I'm in your way, let me know. I will definitely move. Or I could easily be like, hey, I don't know you, but could you record this set? Like, I've done that before too.
Oh yeah, I've done that so many times. Or just for me to look back on my form. But I've never had like, or I don't even have any plans to like have a fitness page. So what's that like? I don't think it's anything wrong with it. That's just not something I would like. It's just effort. I don't know. I don't want my people looking at myself working out either. I just think that, I don't know. I get it. Yeah.
So I guess kind of going back to where I was talking about, and then branching into this. So yeah, it was Fit by Alexys. I was doing a lot of like standard like weightlifting type things, and then doing a lot of cardio. And then
would you film
COVID
the cardio too? Like, would you just what kind of? Are you just like film like a do?
It'd be like hit workouts that I would do. So like if you scrolled way to the bottom of my fitness page, I think I still have like some of those workout or like little hit workout videos that I posted. But then it transitioned. So I think in COVID, one of my friends back in high school, Tom Cow, shout out Tom Cow. I love shouting out people. It's so fun. They're probably not even gonna watch this. But anyways, if you do, hey, he had called me out. He was like, Alexys, you have this platform. You talk about fitness, what you're passionate about, but also like you're a woman of faith. Like you should talk more about your faith. You have this platform, use it for good, like use it for God's glory. And I actually brought Tom to faith because I brought him to church with me. So it was a cool like full circle moment there. And at first I was like, well, what do you mean? Like I do talk about my faith. Like I'll post a Bible verse or I'll do this. But then after a little bit of time, I was like, you know what? You're right. Like I do have a platform. I should be using it to glorify God and not myself. Where again, I think nowadays a lot of people, they're just trying to become famous for themselves and like get their name out there, which is fine. But I kind of transitioned my content. So Buff Believer, where the name came from, buff as in like the gym, like buff, but then believer as in like believer in faith. So kind of combined it. And I mean, yes, I still post workout videos or like pump pictures from time to time. Other times I try to post and talk about mental health or talk about comparison. I'll post if I'm like reading a Devo or reading my Bible, like, hey, I'm doing soap. So I'm breaking down what I'm reading. This is how I interpreted it.
Soaps?
Yeah, so soap. So scripture, observation, application, prayer. So I'm reading Joshua right now, and so I'll break it down. So it's like Joshua 18, 1 through 10. That's the scripture. The observation, what did I observe in this passage? All about Joshua towards the latter half. We're just talking about inheritances and how he's breaking up and going through, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just want to get back to the regular Bible, but then my like application, I think just from past couple of nights I've been reading, is again like there's a lot of different people that are being mentioned as getting like an inheritance for like the land. And I'm totally kind of butchering the context here.
No, you're all right.
But
You're all right.
I was like, well, I think it's actually kind of cool that God ensured that all these separate people and all these just different communities were mentioned to get their own inheritances, because it's just like all of us. Like every single one of us is important. Like God made us in his image. Just because we may not know someone or because we may not like someone doesn't mean that they aren't important in God's eyes. So it just helped me to apply it in my life, being like, hey, regardless of who it is, like I should look at them like Christ looks at them. Like hold the door open for them, give them a compliment, even if you maybe are having a fight with them, if you don't know them. And then the prayer part, or P, is prayer. So I just like write down a prayer about the verse. So
Gotcha.
Regardless, overall, I try to really incorporate, like it's a lifestyle page, but like niche wise, it combines faith, fitness, family, and kind of finances. So that's not as much of a target. But like I like to incorporate the 4 F words, those F words, onto the page.
Okay, so that's what you, and you post there regularly still? Is this kind of like your main?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely use Buff Believer more than I use my main page on Instagram, because I have 2 accounts. Well, I actually have 3 accounts. I have my Buff Believer, and then I have my main Instagram, Alexys Larson, with 2 N's, because Alexys Larson with 1 N was taken. My last name is just 1 N, not 2. And then I have Alexys Larson NM, and that's my business page for like financial stuff, just because, again, compliantly, it has to be separate. Yeah, I mainly post on Buff Believer. Not as often as I once did back a couple years back, like my first year of college. I was like influencer, like posting on TikTok 3 times a day.
Do you have a big following?
I got up to like 56K, I think, which on TikTok,
nice.
That's not that much. And then I still remember.
I'd say that's a lot. I think it's a lot.
Well, I mean, looking back, I'm like pretty proud of myself, but I still remember as soon as I started dating Carter, I posted a TikTok with him. I lost 3,000 followers in one day.
Oh,
all
because
I posted Carter. Yep. And I had friends, in the influencer world.
Oh, that's funny.
Who were like, well, yeah, I don't post my boyfriend because I'm going to lose followers. And I was like, okay, again, respect. Like, it's up to you. It's your page. But I'm like, whenever I have a significant other, like, I want to be able to show them off. Sure, in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, 3,000 followers, that hurts a little bit. But at the same time, I'm like, my relationship means more than the amount of followers that I have.
You still have TikTok now?
Yeah, I barely post on TikTok. Oh my gosh.
Is that the 56 that it came from?
Yeah, I think now it's at like 48 or something. Like every time I go on, I just keep losing followers.
Oh, because of the boyfriend, or what?
Probably because, a mix of that, a mix of me not posting, probably a mix of like all of that.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so I mainly just use my Instagram. I'm not focusing on like growing it. Sure, it's nice if I get new followers. I'm like, hey, what's up, new friends? But it's more so I'm like, I just enjoy posting. I enjoy talking about my faith. I enjoy posting a pump picture, like, hey, just hit back with a little lat spread or something. So now it's just for enjoyment. And I still work with companies and collabs and such. But it's for fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So do you ever get caught up in like, because I know I'm trying, get caught up in like the amount of likes you have or the followers, because I've been there, right? And it's hard not to, and that's what made me hesitate from social media for so long, because at the end of the day, it's just kind of like chasing validation from other people, which isn't like something that's, but I fall into it because it's hard, like, this many people like my stuff, I'm a great guy because of this, and then like, well, only this many people like my stuff. Like, dang it. Like, there's something, like, up with what I posted, or, and you start...
internalizing it, yeah.
Yeah. And it's so dumb, I just think it's just so dumb that I get... And logistically, you look at it, you're like, yeah, it's dumb, but, like, it's hard. And that's why it's straight for me for so long. I just have it because, this is a cool platform, and I just, like, post it because I really do enjoy this.
Right.
But, like, that's why before I came to this industry, I didn't post on social media at all because I don't want to get into that, and still I don't, but it's kind of a necessary, it's not necessary, but it really does help, just your following. So I guess I've never had anything close to 56,000. Not even close. And that's what was that like? And you even said like you're losing that 3,000 hurt, but like even if you look at the logistics of it, if I had 48,000, I'd be wow, that's way more than I have now. Mm-hmm. So. When you were dabbling in that, or you still are, like, how does that all of what I said kind of play in, resonate with you and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, I think back when I was so focused on growing it, so this would have been my freshman year of college, kind of sophomore year, so like 2 or 3 years ago. No, 1 to 3 years ago now, because I'd say the past year I haven't really been focusing on like the fitness page as much. I think when you are in that growth mindset, you are like not necessarily seeking for validation, but it's like I want to make sure what I'm posting is attractive. I want to be attracting people to my page. I want them to like my stuff. Then now I've kind of shifted it more to I'm just posting for myself, and I want to make sure I'm enjoying it.
Right.
So it's
right.
like
That's
I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna be weird. I'm gonna be whatever I want to post. Like I used to filter it back when I was really trying to go growth. I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I could talk about that, or I don't know if this should be mentioned. I know a big thing like for females, it's like pose versus unpose. Like here's me posing and here's me not. Like this is what a natural body looks like.
What does that kind of mean? Like,
so I'm just thinking of this one post. So this one girl that I follow, I mean, we're mutual followers. But she had posted a picture of her like a couple months back or like a year ago, of like how her body looked. And then she kind of was not into fitness as much. I'm kind of butchering her story or with her caption. There's another post, but basically it was like, hey, I lost a lot of my muscle. Like my butt does not look like my butt now. Like to be fully transparent with what we're talking about for the post. And I gravitated towards that because I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel that. Like I used to work out 5 to 6 times a week. Now I'm maybe in there 3 times. Like I'm trying to get back into it. In that, I've lost a lot of muscle. I've lost what my body used to look like. So being like transparent and vulnerable, I have found has really helped my following, at least for me, to like be sticky and to like enjoy what I post. But at the same time, then it's sure if I'm talking about something and being vulnerable, maybe it's not everyone's cup of tea and I lose followers. But I don't care because then I'm attracting people that actually like me for what I post, who I really am and genuine.
Right? And stuff. Right. And so is that what you mean by posing?
Yeah. So
the authenticity. I thought you meant like physically, like.
Well, that's what I mean.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Or?
So like a pose versus unpose pic. Like let's say, oh gosh, I don't know. Like if I'm like just standing sideways in a mirror and I like take a picture. Okay, sure. Like I don't know. Your stomach might be out a little bit. You got your gut. Maybe you're not flexing your arms. Okay, next picture, you pose your body a certain way. You're flexing your arm. Like it's pose versus unpose. Like a lot of Instagram is so filtered with different colors, different like teeth whitening. You can make yourself look tan. You can make your muscles look bigger. Oh my gosh, there's so much, all the Photoshop out there. Like that's one thing about just the industry, but also social media. Like it is causing so many people to have mental health issues, eating disorders, a lot of comparison issues, all because it's unrealistic standards out there. So like that's why for my page I'm like I am totally fine being authentically myself because not many people are. And it kind of, I mean, for me, like I would do that all the time, like where I compare, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I looked like that girl, or I wish my life looked like that. Like my life isn't as cool as that. I'm not staying in 5-star hotels. I don't have a ton of nice, cool business clothes every single year. So it's, I don't know what we were even talking about, but I don't know. I think it just depends on
posing versus unposing.
Yeah, I think it just depends where your mindset is at towards your page. Because I mean, again, I've evolved it, but at the same time, the last note I'll make on your question, again, I have grown in my faith a ton the past 2 years, and I think my boyfriend Card, like I think he's helped in that. Like we both were very strong in our faith before we started dating, but we've just increased together, which is the whole point. Like I think that's how it should be. But in that, a lot of my validation is from Christ. Like I don't need worldly validation where I'm like, if I get 2 likes on an Instagram post, oh well. Like sure, back in high school I used to get like almost I remember one post I almost got like 2,000 likes. I was like, I'm so cool. And like my last thing I posted this past weekend I got like 400. And in my head I'm like, oh, I used to get like so many more likes. Then I'm like, Alexys, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like
I've never got 400 likes on any of my posts. So it's all
perspective.
It's all about perspective.
Yep, it's about perspective.
If you had 2,000 and go to 400, right? Like Or you go from 40 to
Right.
400, you know?
Right, yeah. But again, so that the main point was just like a lot of validation these days is worldly, where it's like, oh, someone has to like my picture, or someone has to comment on
I know.
it.
And that's where I was like
Yeah.
telling you, like, you know, it just was like, I know it seems dumb. It is dumb. But
Right,
like, it's
right.
kind of hard, you know, when you're not living for like the right values, like you said,
Right.
and it's like you get stuck in that kind of trap almost,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's what's dangerous about social media.
Yeah. And I mean, again, just with all the stuff out there nowadays, it's like, well, maybe something happened in your childhood and now you're seeking out worldly validation or validation from guys, or you were in a bad relationship and now
Right.
it's, I just need to go out and like sleep around with other people. Like talking about real, genuine things of our generation. Because again, another thing that's important to me, like I'm waiting for marriage. Like I know nowadays, like it's very uncommon to do that. Because again, like just validation wise, oh, I need to go out and do this. Like, I don't want to seem weird. I don't want to seem prude, whatever it is. But again, it's being genuine to yourself, being like, I'm okay that I might be one of the few. Because again, like, I don't know. It's just something that's a moral or a value of mine that I want to have. And, yeah.
It's
Anyways.
about being like comfortable in your own skin and not
Right.
like letting other people determine your validation, which is tough
Right.
if you don't come from like, you know, like the right background. And a lot of people, you know, there's always like some hole or gap in their upbringing or just in their life that
Yeah.
they try to fill with some stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it isn't gonna satisfy them.
Nothing will
the end.
satisfy you like Christ. Period.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, but yeah, you mentioned stuff about like comparison and stuff. Like, what did that look? So yeah, let's talk about that a bit more, because
Yeah.
Even in our industry, it's like,
Oh my
hey,
gosh,
you know, like this
yes.
guy's doing this much volume, and I'm, you
Yes.
know, or like you
They
know.
got that amount of premium. They're doing that. They're doing this. Ugh.
Yeah, no, and you always like kind of see, hey, I don't have that, and you look through a lens of like, man, this person has this and I don't have that. But when you, it can go the other way, right? Like you can go look at this person doesn't have that and I have this, right? This person doesn't have that,
Oh,
and this is like a powerful thing that I think about sometimes. But obviously, well, not obviously, but you know who Julius Caesar was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like the Roman emperor.
Yeah.
Way back when, like 2,000 some years ago.
Okay.
And I bring this up because he was probably like, well, we could probably agree on this, like he's probably the most powerful man at the time, right? Like,
Probably.
or one of the most powerful men, maybe like, yeah.
I'm not that good at history. If I brought my little brother in here, he'd be like, "Oh, it's this person." We'll continue.
But
I'm agreeing.
probably.
Sure. Okay. Probably.
Probably, I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
Just think about his life, right? I mean, you know, he probably, you know, did a bunch of stuff for fun, one of the Colosseum and stuff, and
Right.
you know, he was like the most powerful leader, and just think about how an average American with a car, with air conditioning, heat, any show you want at the fingertips, any information you want at your fingertips,
Yeah.
like an average American lives just like 1,000 times better. I mean, we could go to Cub Foods and get food from Asia, Brazil,
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
Okay, we live so much better than the King of Kings
Right.
back in the Roman time. That was the most powerful man to ever, you know, exist at that point. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but like, he's just one of the most powerful men ever, and we live way better like quality of life than he does. You know, so you got a comparison like that. You know, when you put things in that perspective, it kind of makes you understand how lucky you are, and that's where like, hey, Christ comes in, because it kind of, well, you know, you don't have to, but like what comes with a relationship with Christ is gratitude, right? A lot of people dismiss the
Yeah.
gratitude, and they always like, oh, I need this, I need that to be happy, I need this
Yep.
more money, I need this
Yep.
bigger house, I need this bigger car. And it's like, dude, like, you know, I had a 17-year-old car before I got a new one, and I was super
Yep.
happy with it, right? And I got a
Exactly.
new one. I'm like even more happy. Like, I don't need like, nice, someone gave me a luxury car,
Right.
but like, it's not like, oh man, my life, you know, stinks without it. Because it's like, if you live in that mindset, then you'll never be happy, because there's always something materialistic to chase, right? I honestly believe that the thing that the key to happiness is, well, obviously relationship with Christ. I honestly do believe that. And there you go, relationships with people too. Like if you're, you know, I'd rather have
Community.
little materialistics, but like a strong community than just all the riches in the world, but no one to share it with, right?
Right.
So I don't know. That was kind of a little tangent, but like, yeah, just like the comparison thing. What do you think of all that?
Yeah, I mean, that was a good perspective. I guess never have really thought about, let me go back in time comparing like way of life then versus
Think of
now.
the medieval times, man. Like,
Well,
it's
all of
just
it. Yeah, I
awful.
mean, that's a really good
Yeah.
perspective to have on comparison. And again, I think it just applies a lot to social media because a lot of people, they're posting the highlight reel of their life.
It is. You're not going to post like yourself when you're down necessarily. Like most people wouldn't. Like you're like, oh, I'm so depressed today. You know, like.
Well, exactly, but
no
that's
one's really going to do that.
Exactly, but that is one thing, again, I like am fine posting on my page. I didn't used to be, but if I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel so sad, like I feel lonely today, or I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, and then sometimes like, oh gosh, I don't know if I should post this, and I hit post, and then immediately.
Well, that's really brave of you.
Well, right, but then
Yeah.
immediately I get people, girls, other like friends of mine, people I don't even know that follow me from across the world being like, thank you so much for posting this.
Right.
Like, I needed to hear this. I didn't know I was the only one going through this. I didn't know I thought I was the only one going through this. I thought I was the only one who felt this way. So, I mean, that in one helps me feel a little validated. Like, okay, good. Like, now I'm not the only one myself. So it goes both ways. Because again, like so many people, it's just the highlight reel. It's you with filters on. It's you with a bunch of makeup on. And it's trying to be able to show both sides of it, being like, yeah, like this is who I am genuinely all around. Like my life isn't perfect. No one's life is. And I just think a lot of people on social media, just because if they have big followings, it might need to be filtered. Where I really appreciate following people who are more vulnerable and open about that stuff. So I just think, again, it attracts more because you're more genuine about the actual things of life that people go through. Rather than just, hey, here's all my new clothes, here's my new haul with this or that. Sure, which, of course, I'll post a haul. I love me a haul.
Haul?
Yeah, like let's say so for example, I work with One Up Nutrition, which is a supplement company. So like whenever I get like a monthly box or something, I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I get this month? And I'll kind of show it.
A haul.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you meant like a hallway, and I was kind of confused.
No,
I
no,
was
not,
like,
not a hallway, no.
What's up? You posting about hallways? Like,
But
okay.
yeah, so I just think it's social media nowadays is a very slippery slope.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just all about perspective, and that's like what I'm just kind of refining as I kind of get into posting more and more, you know, just caring less and less, and just,
Yeah.
you know, it's about the people around you and stuff that really
Yeah.
makes a difference versus.
And I think one thing that helps too, it's again being confident in who you
Yeah,
are.
exactly.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, especially for me, like having my identity rooted in Christ, I mean, that has been a game changer for me the past 2 years. Like, I wake up every single morning and I try every single morning,
Right.
read my Bible, I do a Devo, I say a prayer. I try to pray before my meals. If I think about God throughout the day, maybe say a quick prayer, whatnot. And then every night, me and Carter at least pray before we go to bed, like we'll FaceTime or call or something, because we're not living together until we get married. And then I'll also try to read my Bible separately as well. But I think another thing with comparison is so many people out there right now, they're seeking for outside validation, or they're just trying to figure out who they are. Like, who am I? What's going on? Like, where is my identity? I'm so confused. Everything around the world, oh my gosh, it's so scary, blah, 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 blah. Where I've caught myself there too. But since my identity is rooted in Christ, I can take a step back and be like, oh yeah, like, Alexys, calm down. You're not supposed to know what's going to happen in the future. You're not supposed to have everything figured out. But I know that when I die, I'm going to go to heaven. Like, that just immediately floods my body with relief. Like, all anxiety is gone at that point. Like, just being able to go back to that. But then that is why I'm so passionate about every time I go to a class talk, I talk to someone at a networking event, I'm on a podcast. Like, I love Jesus and I want to tell other people about him because, like, it's amazing. Like, I'm going to have eternal life. And some people have never even heard of the gospel, or they've seen someone post something on Instagram and then they have like a Bible verse in their bio and they're like, that's what Christianity is? Or Christians are judgmental or this or that. So it's like, no, like, I want to show you what it is. Like, I'm sorry if someone misrepresented Jesus to you. Like, I'm sorry if you had a bad experience at church. Like, I have too. I've had people in faith say something rude or like completely ghost me when I'm calling them for, you know, like, see if they want to have a conversation for financial stuff, like just different things. But again, it's like, I don't know. I'm just very passionate. I want to be able to try to tell tell the good news, spread it so that other people can have eternal life, just because like that is the best thing. Yes, financial planning is amazing, but I want to make sure you and your family can get to heaven. Like that is like, I want to make heaven crowded.
Right.
Like that is the biggest thing ever.
So do you merge the two then, your job and your faith?
Yeah.
You just try to outreach like every client, or
Yeah,
how do you
I mean,
how do you integrate it in?
So again, that's one thing compliantly where I can't
Yeah.
just be like, hey, are you Christian? Like,
Right.
let me read the Bible to you right now.
Right.
But again, that's where I like being genuine and like saying, oh yeah, I'm a believer, or I'm very involved in church. I love Jesus, because then the other people who are very similar in that regard, I'll know right away, like, oh, I am too. That's super cool. So we can connect on that level. So when we have a conversation about it, I'll be like, hey, who else do you know that absolutely loves Jesus? Or who's in your Bible study? Like, I don't only work with Christians by any means, but when I do, those relationships.
So you get like deeper. Yeah, I agree.
Yes,
I agree.
they're so deep and so
I agree.
meaningful.
I agree with my clients too. If we ever get like on the same wavelength. Yeah,
Yes.
I agree.
And it's not just faith. Like, it can be for fitness. It
Right,
can be for
right.
a love of chicken. I don't know. But like having like that community and that Christ-centered community, like who you are around really helps play into who you are. So trying to surround yourself with other like-minded individuals, and then still spending time with people who aren't believers, because you're supposed to do that too. Like, that's what Jesus did. Like, go out, go do the different things that not many people do.
Yeah, I mean, I was touch upon the faith thing real quick. Just in my personal career, what is it, 2024? So 2 years ago now, almost to this day, I made the decision. What is it, 14th, 11th? Okay, so probably like almost 2 years fully from now. I made the decision to leave teaching, and that's what I really did feel called to do. Just like I just have I don't know how to describe it, but like I grew up with like 5 younger siblings, so I just know how to like connect with kids. It's just so natural. It's just so natural to me. I love how I don't know, I'm getting on a tangent right now, but I just love how kids, like when I go to the zoo, I honestly kind of feel that, you know, like they see things like so new, and they see like the whole like novelty and like the cool adventure and experience in something.
Yeah.
And a lot of adults lose that.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, it's just a polar bear. Oh, it's just a zebra. And I'm like, dude, it's a freaking polar bear. It's huge. It's like white and like big, and it's in Minnesota. Like, that's so cool.
That's claws?
Yeah. And people are just like, oh, yeah, well, oh, just like, and even like those ladies I was telling you about. Oh, we don't run around. We don't run around anymore. We just stand here. Like, yeah, that sucks.
We hate our lives.
That kind of stinks, you know, like, you know, and even when I was working at summer camp, a lot of people just sat on the benches and I was running around with, I don't know if it's a Christian thing or not, but it's just like, dude, I was like running around with the kids, and that's really, I felt joy. I'm getting off topic, but like,
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I was teaching, and I got out of teaching for just a variety of reasons. It's like, that's a whole nother podcast,
Right,
but I just felt like it was time to go. Really, I did. And I did have any sort of direction. No, none. All right, none. And I was 25 at the time, so that's kind of old to be like, yeah, I don't have any of my direction figured out.
I mean, nowadays, I feel like that's not old at all to be questioning.
Back then, you know, I had people I was graduating with have engineering jobs and all this and that. They were all getting settled. My brother just got into like dental school. So here I am chasing this like career that I thought I was led to do. And I you know, then it went poof, and then there was nothing.
Yeah.
And this was just a few days before Christmas. And I remember just praying fervently on Christmas Day 2 years ago. Like, dude, it was like 2 hours where just like spending time, and yeah, I was so anxious and I was worried, but like there was just this, and I can't describe, you know, it's like the relationship that you're mentioning. It's just kind of hard to describe to people who like haven't experienced before. But it's not like, oh yeah, like, oh yeah, everything's gonna work out. It's like, dude, everything's gonna work out because the creator of the universe has my back.
Yep.
You know? So it's just not like, oh yeah, I'm optimistic. It's like, dude, it's more than that. It's more than that. And and I was still anxious. So don't get me wrong. I'm not just like, oh yeah, everything's all good now. Yeah, but it just like took the anxiety from like up here to like manageable, and then I just like kind of take steps. Like I took all these career tests and all this like what you do next, you know, not about maybe going back to be an eye doctor or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then it just really worked out because like I was like interested in finances, like I told you before, and I read these books like investing and like just trying to grow your money at a young age to set yourself up for success for the future. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the finance field, and then I started exploring that, and I actually got a job offer at a bank, being like a teller. But when they read me the job description, it just didn't feel right. They were just like, yeah, you gotta say this script and tell them to open this account. And like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that job. It is just not me, though. Like, I am not like a cookie cutter corporate employee by any means. And there's nothing wrong with, I guess there's nothing wrong with that. But like, just my personality just doesn't fit that. So I was just like trusting, like, okay, I'm gonna pass on this thing. Do I have anything else? No. But I'm trusting that like there is going to be something. Trust God
that He will open a door.
Yeah, you provide, right? And then 2 weeks later, I was sitting at a Discount Tire reading a negotiating book on like just how to split the differences, a book on negotiations.
Oh yeah.
And then I've talked about this on a different podcast, but my mentor came down, sat next to me. I didn't know him at the time, obviously, and he's like, "Hey, yo, dude, that's a good book you're reading." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a great book." And then
it's a really good book, man. Let me tell you about it.
Yeah, we started talking, and then he's like, "Hey, go." He's like, "Go over there and grab this sheet." And there was like this sheet of like we were at Discount Tire, and it's like about the hiring of Discount Tire, and it shows you like these steps of how you can advance in the company. So it was like service level technician, and then like shift manager, and then assistant manager, general manager, and then all the way up to like the district lead or something.
Right.
And he's like, I don't know. Yeah, he's just like, dude, I'm gonna start you up on step 3 because you know me in the mortgage industry. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I can jump up a couple steps.
Skip a couple steps.
I met him up for a couple days later. I thought he was kind of full of crap, but he gave me his phone number, and then I talked about this in the other podcast more in depth. But I mean, like, and then he's like, dude, you're gonna be good at this job. Go do this, and come call me. And then I actually met with my pastor before accepting the job, because I don't just jump into something this like career changing move just like, oh yeah, I met a guy, that's good enough for me.
Man. Tires plus, man.
So I talked to him, and he's like, yeah, if they told me 4 things. I always remember 2, but he's like, if God has this door open for you, if the timing feels right, which it did, and then he's like, if other people in your life tell you, yeah, that's a good fit for you, and I asked like every one of my friends, and they're like, heck yeah, you're gonna be good at this job. I'm like, all right, done, sealed.
Perfect.
And I followed this, and it just, I had faith, and it delivered, and I just can't. And there's been many more instances like that. Like my car, I just recently posted this stuff about my car. I mean, I'm not gonna go into it here, but like, my car got totaled, and it just ended up working out so well, like way better than I could have
so well
imagined. It just worked out like better than I could have imagined. So like that's like the faith thing that you were talking about, and I'm just sharing like personal stories where I really do feel that. Yeah, I mean, like, it's easy to forget those things, so that I kind of just tell these stories again to kind of remind even myself, like, hey, sometimes it's easy to forget, but he is watching over me, and like, I'm very blessed to have that, and I want to use like my my resources to like help the clients, and just like really just help you, really do, and just kind of do his like will, honestly. So so just my talents and everything like that. So
well, it's good to have those God moments. Like, I was thinking about this probably over the past couple of days. I was reading the Bible. It just was one of the applications or observations that I had connected with it, where like I do have those God moments where if someone were to ask me, why do you think God is real? Or like, what is, like, I could come up with a couple things in my life. One thing I was thinking about is I think oftentimes when things are going bad in your life and you keep praying like, God, please heal me of this, or God, please do this, and he doesn't answer that prayer, I think it's really easy for people to fall away from faith.
Sure.
Because they're like, God, where are you? Like, why don't you hear me? Like, I'm crying out to you and you're not listening. But again, it's like in that moment, that's when you need to keep pressing into him more and not limit him, because maybe he's answering your prayer, but he's answering it in a way that you aren't looking, or he's trying to connect you with someone, but you're so focused on, no, God is going to answer my prayer in this way.
Do you have any examples that happen in your life where that's applicable?
I'm trying to think. Well, one thing that I'm thinking about right now is my sister. So again, diagnosed with the rare brain condition, functional neurological disorder, about 3.5 years ago. With this disorder, the U.S. hardly knows anything about it. Like the U.K., Canada, they have a ton of resources about it. My mom will still go to doctor's appointments, and she has to describe what my sister has been through for the past 3.5 years because doctors don't know. And with all of this, like there is non-epileptic seizures, paralysis, blindness, deafness. All this stuff happened when she was 13 and now she's 16. And so it's like, I still pray every single day. I'm like, God, I believe in you. Like, I believe you can fully heal her from everything that's going on with her and all the other things that are going on in her life that he knows about. Like, I believe it can happen. It hasn't happened yet. If anything, it has gotten progressively worse over the past 3 years. And I can either go one of two ways. One, I can say, you know what, God, like, I do not like you. I don't believe in you anymore. You aren't healing my sister. You're not listening. I'm giving up on you. Or go the other way, which is the way I've gone, is, you know what, God, you're not answering my prayer. My sister is still suffering through all of this. My family is still suffering through all this with her. But you know what? I believe in you. I trust in you. What else are you doing in my life that I can still be grateful for? Who else can I continue to tell the gospel about? How else can I be praying for my sister? How can I pray for my mom and my family? Again, he hasn't healed her, but what am I going to do? Just stop praying? Like, why would I give up? When at the same point, again, if he can do miracles, if he can make blind people see, if he can turn water into wine, turn a couple things of bread and fish, and then feed 1,000 people with it, like, why could he not heal my sister? Like, there's no reason he can't. So again, I just need to keep praying. I don't know, that's probably a tangent too, but like, clearly I'm very passionate about this. Like, I get very fired up about talking about this just because I've seen people in my life turn away from faith because of some bad experience. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, like, no, this person should not have died for this or that reason, or that should not have happened to them. Like, but again, everything happens for a reason. Like, because of this event, well, now this, and this happened, or you were able to touch these people with this new thing that you created. Like, don't turn away from him. Like, he's making miracles in other people's lives from this event. Like, I'm watching Grey's Anatomy right now, so I'm using an example from that, where if someone needs like a heart transplant or something, someone had to die so that person can live, which is extremely sad, but also it's like, well, now what can that person go do? Can they go and do a bunch of research and help people learn how to, have heart transplants, but like do it in a better way or a safe, like, just in general, I just think there's so many little touches that go on every day. And it's just really cool to think about it when you actually sit down and think and speak on it, I don't know. I'm just very like, oh my gosh, let's go right now. Clearly.
Right. And that's a great perspective to have, because it's not like a conditional like thing, It doesn't, if you do it the first way you're done, well, that's a conditional, oh, you're not gonna do this for me, then fine, I'm not leaving,
Right, yeah. Oh, if you don't give me a car, if you don't give me this job, like, screw you, God.
Yeah,
like,
that's not
what?
true. That's
Who
not,
are you?
That's not true faith right there, right?
No.
That's just like, oh yeah, I'm just being a faith. It's like a genie in the bottle type of thing.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
God's not a genie in the bottle.
Yeah, it's just like
you have to meet him halfway. You can't only reach out to him when good times happen. You can't only pray, oh God, please help me get an A on this test, if you didn't study at all. Like, you have to put the work in, you have to seek him.
Yeah.
He will always be like reaching out to you, being like, I love you, I want a relationship with you. But you have to also turn towards him and like reach back halfway and touch his hand
it's
too.
all, that like that, and then you also, I feel like you gotta make some tangible effort. You just gotta be like, oh yeah, I want this, and then you sit in your bed and then you're praying, but like, you're not doing anything.
Right. Yeah.
I believe it opened doors for you or guide you down paths, but like, if you're, if I was just sitting in my bed, be like, I wish I had a cool job, and just sat there, it's not like all of a sudden, it's not like all of a sudden someone's gonna knock on my door, like, hey, I heard you guy upstairs and wants a cool job. Here you go.
I heard your life sucks. God told me to come knock on your door, which could happen. It could happen, but I like your point of he wants you to go out, seek him, go out, like, do things to actually go out.
Act out. And they probably put like events in your life, and then you gotta like walk through those doors, like you were saying earlier about like the signs and stuff. Like you gotta walk, but like I don't think. I mean, it could, like you said, but like I think he's meant more of like walking with you instead of like. I mean, sometimes he'll pick you up and carry you, but like instead of like just straight up like delivering things, just planting it right there, like, and you're like, oh, okay.
Well, and actually on that tangent, one thing that I want to make sure I talked about too is I think some people misunderstand faith as well, where it's not like performance based. Like, if I do so many good deeds, that means I'm going to get a higher place in heaven, or that guarantees my spot in heaven. Like, the only way you can get into heaven and have eternal life is if you believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross for you and your sins to have eternal life. You don't have to do good things. Sure, don't go and kill anyone. Like, don't do bad things per se. But I think a lot of people think it is more of...
earn your salvation is what you're saying.
Earn. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, what's the proper verbiage here? Yeah, you can't earn your salvation. Where, again, it's continually seek after him, but don't try to like, oh, sweet, I did this good thing. Now I'm a next step up, and the next step up, and the next. Like, that's not how it works. Like, once you have your salvation, you have it. But keep seeking after him to grow in relation with him. But... I just want to put that out there because I think that's a common misconception.
I think that's really good, and like just a kind of my own tangent here. Like I was thinking about like, as I kind of wrap up this year, I got, it's been a much more successful year this year than last year and
there we
stuff
go.
like that. And
amen.
Yeah, amen to God. And it's easy. I mean, it's not like I'm, it's just like, hey, now I have a little bit more resources than I did last year, and it's like it's important to remember, like, it's so easy to get caught up with like just materialistic stuff or like just spend it, like I want to be able to kind of still lean in that hard as I ramp up my career, ramp up success, because it's not all about chasing money or success or anything. Like there's plenty of successful rich people that are just miserable. Not saying that is causing misery, but I'm just saying that doesn't necessarily like, that doesn't conduce like happiness just because you're like
100%.
super this or super that. So it's just kind of a, that's exactly what I'm trying to just over this next, like bit of my life. Hey, ramp up my career, but at the same time, like remember the guy that fed me. Remember him that fed me. So it's just like, I don't want to ever forget that. And it's easy to, because like, there's a lot of cool stuff you can buy with, and things like that, and like, you can get caught up easily, right? But it's all those
material things.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in the world, but it's just like, it's not about living for that. It's about relationships and the memories you build, and like I like to spend time with people that are really bubbly and like just can find joy, and like me and my buddy were at a car wash yesterday, and I got like some music, bounced it up. There's like flashing lights, so just like we're having fun in a car wash,
we're
having fun on a walk in the woods, it's just like finding like joy in the mundane stuff of life. And I think that, I don't know, me and him are talking, I don't know if that's like a thing that you get from a relationship with God, but just like finding joy in like just little things with each other. I don't need to go all the way, I will, but like I don't need to go all the way to Peru to have fun. There's just so much stuff to do here. You can go to the back of the woods and buy your house, and it'll be fun, blast of time, right? Like, I don't know, just having, I don't know, I am getting off a tangent, but it's just like, hey, I just want to remain joyful, like, through any stage of my life, through anything. It's just like, just always having that, like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if, well, I'm going to say this. I think it definitely is a faith thing, but at the same time, I know people who aren't Christian and have joy. So I don't think it's like you can only have joy if you're a believer.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. Yeah.
But like for me, so many people throughout my life have always said to me like, hey, you're different, or you're so happy, you're so bubbly, you're so filled with joy. Like, what's different about you? Like, but that's what I want. Like, I want people to say, what's different about you? Why are you like this? And I can say, I'm so happy you asked. Well, I love the creator of this world. He died for my, like, and then that like bridges us into a conversation about Christ and like how maybe they can have salvation, or hey, come to church with me, come to a Bible study with me. Because I think, again, having your identity rooted in Christ, you know where you're going to go after you die. You know that you can't control anything around you because, again, the world is full of chaos. But, like, you can go back to God and center yourself. And I think that just gives me joy in itself. I know the song, it's like the joy of the Lord is my strength.
Pouring out to others, right? That's also...
well, that one too, yeah. I mean, I totally butchered how that song sounds. But, like, I just think of that one when I think of this, just because, like, I listen to worship music, especially the hype worship music that you listen to if you go to, like, a conference or, like, a church camp type thing. Like, everyone just has so much joy whenever I talk to another believer. And it is, like, it's the fire of Christ that's in us. Like, it just gives me so much happiness. And I don't know, that's just immediately what I thought of when you talked about joy. Because I was like, yes, joy. That is like huge thing. It's a huge differentiator where, I mean, again, not everyone who has joy is Christian by any means, but I think believing in God and having a belief in him and a relationship with him creates that extra joy. Like, you give more grace to people. You're more kind to people. You want to treat people like Christ. You don't want to hold grudges. You don't want to try to be mean. You don't want to go off and kill someone, go and steal something. Sure, Christians probably still do that. But I think you get my point of the tangent.
Yeah, and I think that's probably. I don't really hold a grudge. Yeah, I don't, because it's just like you're. Yeah, I don't hold that anger.
Well, I mean,
anybody,
again, and
really.
Christians still hold grudges. I probably have held grudges too. Like, it's growing. But again, a big thing of Christianity is forgiveness. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus literally, as he was walking to get hung on a cross, had like rocks thrown at him, was slashed at him. I can't remember the movie title, but we'll have to like put this in there somewhere. But me and Carter watched it before Easter last year. I was sobbing. But it's basically just showing him getting hung on the cross. Like, he had, nails in his hands and both his feet. And again, he still, like, he came down from his crown in heaven and lived a life, went through all the temptations that we had. He never once sinned. And yet, we threw rocks at him. We did all these terrible things to him. And yet he still died on a cross for all of our sins. If he can forgive humanity and die on a cross for our sins, why can I not forgive someone for lying to me, for doing something, for like whatever it is? Sure, it might take me some time. I might be in prayer, like asking for God to help me with forgiveness. But I always go back to that being like, okay, if Jesus did this whole huge giant thing for humanity, I can suck it up and try to forgive this person. Sure, it might change our relationship. I might have more of a boundary there.
Right. Yeah, that's
the biggest thing,
normal thing. I mean, that's a smart thing to do if someone's
Right.
lying to you, right? You're not gonna be like naive about it, although.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like just trying to get past it. Because
Right,
I
and
mean,
not
at the
hold
end,
it.
like,
Right, I
if
get what you're saying.
If you're holding a grudge, it's gonna hurt you more than it hurts the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Which as I've grown in faith, like it's helped me. Like if I think back to relationships back in high school, like with the guys I dated, oh my gosh, I was probably so petty. Like I just think when you're younger, you're just petty or whatnot, especially girls. And now that I'm older, I'm like, I'm so happy that I've grown in faith because that's helped me become a better girlfriend. It's helped me become a better daughter, a better coworker, better business owner. Like just overall, my entire identity has changed. I've always loved Jesus. I used to get called like a Jesus freak in high school. But now I'm like fully actively living it out. Like try not to, like just different things that are mentioned in the Bible, but like really trying to embody it. Yes, I make mistakes. I am not a perfect human just like everyone else. But it's just different when like you're actively living out the Christian relationship rather than just wearing like a cross necklace, I don't know.
Yeah.
And again, if you wear cross necklaces, that's fine. I have a cross necklace too.
I have a cross necklace
But
in my
like,
house.
again, you could be someone's only Bible. You could be someone's only experience of Christ. Like everyone is watching you. Like people will watch this podcast. They'll like look at how we act, how we talk, what we talk about. Whether you're at work, someone can overhear you, what you post on Instagram, what you like on Instagram, what you comment on Instagram. Like I remember when I was still getting into, Instagram and content creation, I remember I'd followed these other people who talked about faith, and I'd see them like liking girls like in bikini pictures, and like all of their all the people they followed were just a bunch of chicks. I'm like, so you're out here posting a bunch of stuff about faith and all this good stuff, but then like look at all your likes. Like again, there's a lot of pieces to a person.
Sure.
No one is perfect, but people will look at what you say, what you do, and how you act, and they'll remember how you made them feel over what you say. So it's,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing, but I'm so tired, but I'm so awake, guys.
Yeah,
It's
you have
weird.
a lot of energy, that's for sure. You might
I
be
know.
the one who might even outmatch my energy, honestly. Yeah, I
There we
guess
go.
I'll wrap up with like just going off your point of like just channeling. I think the closest I've ever been, like, I don't know. I mean, there's always other times too, but like working with kids, I don't know. I can't describe to you like when I was doing probably more preschool and elementary school where I can kind of run my own thing. But like I really just, I don't know. There's just something like 3 and 4. They're so impressionable, especially like, I don't know. I was the only dude working in a preschool center. So like this is like, oh hey, like he runs around with me. Like I would sit with them at lunch and eat my lunch with them.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
dude, that was
Nice.
amazing. And like I sit at the head of the table and I'm like,
Right.
guys, sharing is cool. And they're all like, yeah, Mr. Nathan said sharing is cool.
Oh,
And you really
cute.
shape them because they really look up to you. And you're not like an authoritarian where you're like, oh, you better do this or otherwise you get in trouble. Sometimes you gotta like put your foot down.
Right.
But like you can kind of just match their energy, match their level. And I really just felt like I was just really, I don't know. I can't describe it to you over words here. But there's just that amount of joy. I honestly, like, once I have my own kids and retire and have my grandkids, I think I will like retire at that sort of job again. I'll be like 70 years old, like shaping up kids before I leave this earth, you know, like just I think that's just so cool, man. Like, I don't know, like, yeah.
Well, in your comment earlier, and I know we're wrapping up here, so I'll just mention this, but like your comment earlier about like when you were running around with the kids, where it's like, well, no, like I want to have fun, like I don't want to be like a standard grown up. Like they always say, have childlike faith. Like you said, like kids grow up there in awe of everything, of the sun, of a sunset, of the zoo, and as we grow up, it's like, oh, okay, the sun's rising again.
I don't know. Why do you think we lose that? That's what me and my buddy talk all the time. Like, why do you think adults? Well, I don't want to generalize people, but like, I think a lot of people lose that. They get in their routine, and I really hope I'm not out of line, but like, I just feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm so tired, and they're just kind of like going through the motions. Do you like your job? Oh, no, it's just a job. I'm like, well, you know, that kind of, you know, that's not the best, you know, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just a guy in my 20s just trying to figure it all out, right? But I mean, I don't know. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
no, I 100% agree, and I think that's why, like, again, having a solid community, like, again, for 100%. Me, faith-based, both of us, like, having conversations like this, like, I can tell, like, it brings us joy, like, it lights us up inside talking about it, where it helps us, again, put back into perspective. Oh, yeah, like, Jesus and God, like, they did all of these miracles in the Bible. Look at all the stuff they're still doing to this day. Like, it brings me joy. It helps me get in awe. But again, let's say I'm getting back into routine. I'm doing this. I'm not in my Bible. I'm not praying. I'm not talking to God. I lose that a little bit. Like, I'm more short-tempered. Maybe I get angry that someone's driving slow in the fast lane. I'm like, dude, come on, like, move over, merge. Again, I'm like, fact-checking, like, I didn't read my Bible this morning, or when was the last time I went to Bible study? Like, what am I doing? It immediately changes me, my emotions, like, again, my identity, who I am, when I'm in relation with God and constantly seeking Him every single day, multiple times a day. Where I think, again, as you get older, it's harder to be involved in church and harder to be involved in faith. Like, you know, elementary school, middle school, high school, you can go to church after school. You get to college, you have to actively seek it out on your own. Like, your parents aren't just going to drop you off.
No, but that's how you know it's making it your own stuff, like your parents doing it for
exactly,
you. You know
what I mean? Yeah. But then again, so as you get into adulthood, I think that's why it's very common, just because you have to actively go out and do it yourself, which could be uncomfortable for some people. It could get them out of their comfort zone. But that's why it's having these conversations, being like, oh my gosh, yeah, what did God do in your life today? Or what did you see? What are you excited about? Yeah. It's just all who you surround yourself with, for sure.
Yeah, that's important. It's who you surround yourself with, business or faith or anything. That's super important. Yeah. Well, sweet. I think that's a great Christmas episode. Obviously, I've never planned anything like that, so that was kind of cool. I mean, what a fitting discussion right in time for Christmas. So I'm gonna post this right before Christmas. So.
Oh yeah, and Christmas, guys. The main reason for the season. This is when Jesus was born in Nazareth in a manger by Mary, who was a virgin, and
right.
Well, yeah, just mention that there, you know, because again, that's a miracle. That I don't think that's ever happened since then.
Sorry.
But
great message.
He doesn't like the old stories of faith. No, just kidding. But yeah, that's a Christmas episode, guys. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Follow Buff Believer on Instagram for sure, guys. Yeah.
There we go.
That's it.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas, guys. See you on the next episode.
Deuces.